Hi guys, Phoebe here. Welcome to my channel. Today I've decided that after filming the little baby video intro to cloth diapers, which will be next, I wanted to come on here and talk about my birth story. This is a hospital birth. This will also be a sit-down video talking. I have my mini me. Hi! You say hi, baby. Say hi, baby. So hopefully he will be happy for this. He wasn't happy over there, so hopefully he'll be happy right here. So I just want to quickly get into a little bit of background with my pregnancy and then my birth story. Hopefully you like this sit-down conversation type of videos. So let's get started. I got pregnant in Italy. Me and my husband, well, my husband was stationed over there and I'm married, so we went along. And I got pregnant in Italy a few months before we were due to transfer over to another duty station. We were actually supposed to transfer the same month that I was due to deliver, so we had to get transferred early. We are in Virginia now, and that was extremely hard. This is obviously in the panorama, and I had to fly with my dog, my little 9-pound Maltese, internationally by myself with 3 large suitcases, a dog, and a big old belly. And it was difficult. We rented an apartment that was empty because we didn't have any of our stuff yet. And I slept on a mattress on the floor for a month because they didn't send my husband. And when they did send my husband, they sent him immediately to C school. So that was fun. I slept there for, like I said, about a month before our home goods got there. And it was very difficult. My husband finally did show up 4 weeks before I was due. I was really stressed because I thought he was going to come early, like around 38 weeks. I was hoping he would come at like 39 weeks, but he ended up delaying and did not want to come out. He was very, very comfortable. During my last appointment at 38 weeks, I got checked. They were like, yep, you're not dilated, you're not effaced. It's like you're not even close to giving birth. And I was like, perfect. And then obviously with the Navy, they were like, yeah, and we can't even see you until after your due date again. And I was like, I thought I was supposed to get seen every week during my last month. And they were like, yeah, you are, but we don't have any, sorry. You are, but we don't have any availability, like spots for you. So you're just gonna get seen 2 weeks after your due date. And I was like, okay. So fast forward to 2 days before my son was born. He moved that morning, which he usually does. He would usually move in the morning and at night, but he'll be like really still during the day, probably like sleeping, waiting to give me one big jab every now and then. But I felt him in the morning, which was usual, and going throughout the day, I didn't really feel him at much really. So that night we went to sleep, and I went to sleep without feeling him move and without feeling him punch or kick or doing somersaults or anything that he usually does in the morning or at night. So I woke up the next morning and he still wasn't moving, and I told my husband, and I was like, I'm getting really, really stressed. I am not feeling him move, which is, you know, very stressful. The doctor had told me this horror story, and I really just want to get him checked out. And he was like, okay, fine. We were at the park when that happened. So we actually, walking our dog at the park, we actually went straight to the hospital. Mind you, I only had a bowl of rice this day. I was like not feeling it. I really wasn't feeling too good when I was eating. I was hungry, but I couldn't really eat anything. And I told my husband, I was like, maybe we should stop and get food. And he was like, no, like, it's fine, we'll just get food after. And I was like, okay, but like, what happens? He was like, they're gonna send you home, trust me. And I was like, okay. Wrong decision. If you're going to the hospital, you're on your way, like you think you're in labor, maybe, I'm not sure, get food. Just get food. Just stop and get a cheeseburger, get a hamburger, get some fries, anything, because we got there and the doctor came really fast because she heard that the dog was in the car with my husband. She was like, oh, like, okay, let's like move this along, let's see, because you can get back to your dog and it's in the car. And I was like, okay. And she was like, she checked me, he's fine, he's normal, but it is really unusual for a baby not to move. And I was like, okay. And she said, so we can induce you tonight if you would like. And I said, let me call my husband. And I called him and he was like, yes, let's do it. I'll drop the baby off at our friend's house. And, not the baby, we can drop the dog off at a friend's house. We made arrangements to have someone watch him. And he came back and I got an IV who was a newbie. It was his first IV ever. And it took a lot longer than it needed to be. He was poking me. He was not that good. And it hurt, actually. I got checked in. And they told me, they were like, you're only 1 centimeter dilated. We're going to have to give you this balloon thing. Sorry. So, they told me, they were like, you know, you're only 1 centimeter dilated. We're going to have to give you this balloon to open your cervix up to at least a 3, hopefully a 4. And I said, okay. They were like, don't worry, you know, it's usually in there for about 2 hours. The first 30 minutes is really hard, and the last 30 minutes is also really hard. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I haven't had any Pitocin at this point. I had the IV hooked up to me. Sorry, I didn't have an epidural at this point. I did have Pitocin. They were like pumping me with Pitocin. And they put it in. It was the most painful thing ever. It took 4 tries for them to put it in correctly. It was extremely painful, and I was just in a lot of pain. And it was very difficult. It was very hard. I honestly had a very hard labor. Hey. But I guess that's to be expected because my pregnancy was extremely easy. So after that, so they told me, you know, you're going to have it in for about 30 minutes. I'm sorry, the first 30 minutes and the last 30 minutes are the hardest. You should have it in for about 2 hours. I only had it in for an hour, and the whole thing was extremely painful. It hurt so bad. After that hour of having that balloon, you know, pumped up and stuff, they ripped it out, and then the contractions got harder. I think they upped the Pitocin a little bit, and I was just in a lot of pain. I wanted to labor in the shower, but with everything, like, my nurse didn't really come in that much, so I didn't end up laboring in the shower, which is what I really wanted to do. And it was very difficult, and I told my husband, I was like in tears, you know, these are little baby contractions. I'm only dilated to a 4. Just give me the epidural. I can't do this. So he went ahead, he called the nurse in. I got the epidural. It was like the easiest thing. Honestly, the epidural is not scary. I don't think I'll ever get it again. Like, I really want to try to have a birth center birth maybe next time. But I digress. And yeah, it was very painful. After I got the epidural, I took a nap. I was up all day. At this point, when I got the epidural, I think it was around like 2 or maybe 1 in the morning. I hadn't eaten anything, which was probably getting to me more than, oh, hi, Rolly. Which was probably getting to me a lot more than I thought it was at the time. But with me only eating that bowl of rice for lunch, I was hungry, I was tired, they were pumping me with Pitocin, I had this thing hanging out of my arm and I couldn't really move around very well, and it was just very difficult, and honestly I didn't enjoy my birth experience at all in the hospital, and it was very difficult. So then I was able to sleep. They were rotating me every 30 minutes from one side to another, from one side to another. At one point, I just wasn't progressing and I was stuck at a 4 for like hours. They also did have to break my water as well, which felt extremely weird. So moving on a little bit more, I felt like I had to poop, and I was about to start pushing, and I was pushing, and everybody came in and they were like, all right, go ahead. They were doing the countdowns. He wasn't really down very much, and I had to push him past my pelvic bone, which was extremely difficult. Then I'm sitting there and I'm pushing and I'm pushing, and you know, they count backwards, you know, they count forwards, 1 2 3 4. I think for mine they counted backwards, so you know, 10 9 8 7 6 5 4 3 2 1. As soon as they hit 1, his head popped out and he immediately turned purple, which was the scariest thing in my entire life. He turned purple. My husband and everybody was like, you gotta push, and I was like, I can't, I'm tired. I've only been pushing for so long, but I hadn't slept at all. And that's what gets you. The fact that you're exhausted like that is what gets you. It's not the labor, for me at least. It was the fact that I was just so tired. So they're like, you gotta push, like he's here, his head's out, but he's purple, Phoebe, you have to push. And the way that my husband describes it is, I let out this like Tarzan scream, and he was out, but he wasn't moving for a little bit, and he wasn't crying, and he was not bright purple, but dark purple, because you know, he hadn't. Seriously, what is wrong? You gotta stop hitting your head. But he was like dark purple, and they were, you know, rubbing him off and everything, and finally he let out that little scream, or that little cry, and he was very swollen from being stuck, and it was very scary. And I was very happy when he cried. He was a very big baby. He was 9.5 pounds. I am 5'2", or like 5'3" on a good day. And he was like 21 inches long. He was massive, and I am very short and very little. Not like weight-wise I'm little, but very short. And so pushing out a 9.5 pound baby is extremely difficult. And it's something that is surreal, because I remember some parts of the birth, but my husband can tell you my birth story a lot better than I can, for sure, because you know, he remembers all of it, even though he was just as exhausted as I was from not sleeping. But having him was honestly, one, it was a blessing, and I couldn't imagine not having him, even though he hits his head on everything. He hits his head. But it really is something that is very, I don't know another word other than like magical, having a baby. It's very empowering having a baby. But it was also very scary as well for me, having him turn purple, and him being very, very swollen like he was. I mean, when he came out, he looked like he was half my size because of how swollen he was. And it was just scary. But I couldn't imagine not having him here, and I would go through it all over again 10 times just to have him here. And if you are having a baby, please don't let this scare you. This is just my birth story, and I hope with going in, knowing it, like knowing how to do it, it will be a lot easier and a lot better the next time that we do have a baby. So, say goodbye. Say goodbye. Anyways, goodbye, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed the story of the birth of our son. And I hope you guys have a good day or night wherever you are. So, bye!